Hello, everybody. Welcome back to structure skill number 2. Be careful of objects of preposition. Okay, now in this skill, we're going to dive deep into the concept of prepositions. Some of you may remember prepositions such as the difficulties between, for example, to and for or from, right? So prepositions, what they do is they join nouns, right? So let's look at an example right here. It says, after his exams, Tom will take a trip by boat. So we have the preposition after, right? In this case, after his exams. So it's the relationship between his exams and what Tom will do. In this case, will take a trip, and by, how he will take a trip by boat, right? So these are examples of prepositions such as in, at, of, to, by, behind, on, right, and so on. And when you put together a preposition with the noun, for example, by boat, right, or after his exams, you have what is called a prepositional phrase, right, which is in this case this. So this is an example of a prepositional phrase. And this is also an example of a prepositional phrase, right? Together with the noun, his exams and boat. Now, this apparently, there's no problem with it, but there is a problem because if we read the sentence without this type of examination or analysis, after his exams, and I ask you, what is the subject? You may think that the subject is his exams because we are used to seeing the subject first or in the beginning. But in this case, if we analyze the sentence, we can see that the subject is Tom, right? Because Tom will take the trip. So the confusion is that an object of preposition can be confused, right? Or can cause confusion because it can be mistaken for the subject of a sentence, right? When in reality it's an object, right? That's why it's called objects of preposition. And we know that objects aren't the subjects, right? Basically. Okay, there is another thing we can do, and I recommend you do it. It's on PDF page 586. And here we have a list of all of the prepositions, right? If you want to pause the video and take notes on this, these are all of the prepositions in English. Okay, and right underneath it, there are 3 exercises. This is the first one. Again, if you want to pause the video and do it, you have to find the 21 prepositions that are in these 5 sentences, right? Such as, for example, of, right? For, right? So there are 21 prepositions you need to find here. I recommend you do this. If you want, pause the video and do it. Here is the other exercise. This one has 34 prepositions. So again, pause the video and do it. And finally, we have this one, which has 35 prepositions, right? So find the prepositions so you can practice detecting and identifying the prepositions. Okay, good. Now let's look at an example. This one already has the answer. So we see here that the correct answer is going to be B. But let's analyze the sentence because it says, with his friend, we're missing something, found the movie theater, right? And we could say, well, found is the verb, right? Who or what found? And the problem here is that his friend could be taken as the subject, but it really isn't the subject because we have here the preposition with, and what follows the preposition is the prepositional noun, right? It's the prepositional phrase. So this is a prepositional phrase. It is not a subject. So what do we need? We still need a subject. Has is a verb, so it's not has. He in this case is correct because that's a subject. Later is an adverb, and when is a question word. So the correct answer is B, right? So it says you should notice the verb found, and you should also notice that there is no subject. Do not think that friend is the subject. Friend is the object of the preposition with, and one noun cannot be both a subject and an object at the same time. because a subject is needed in this sentence, answer B, he is the best answer, right? Okay, so if you have any questions here, let me know in the comments. Let's continue with the general note. We have here objects of preposition. A preposition is followed by a noun, pronoun, gerund, or noun clause that is called an object of preposition. If an object of a preposition, if a word is an object of a preposition, it is not the subject, right? So very important. And this is the appendix D that I was talking about, right? So now we're going to go with the exercise number 2. Okay, so in exercise 2, we have 10 exercises, but I'm going to first leave these 7 for you to do. And let's read the instructions just so we know what we're going to be doing. It says each of the following sentences contains one or more prepositional phrase. Underline the subjects once and the verbs twice as always, right? And circle the prepositional phrases. So we're going to circle all of the prepositional phrases that come before the verb, because there are some after the verb, but we don't care about those ones. Then indicate if the sentence is correct, C, or incorrect, I. For example, number 1 says the interviews by radio broadcasters were carried live by the station. So we have by radio broadcasters, which is a prepositional phrase. We have the verb were carried, right? And who or what were carried? The interviews, right? So it has all the elements, subject, prepositional phrase, and verb, so it's correct. Let's look at number 2. In the last possible moment before takeoff, took his seat in the airplane. So we have our verb took, we have a prepositional phrase before takeoff, and we have another prepositional phrase in the last possible moment. But there's a mistake here. It's incorrect because we don't have a subject. We don't know who took his seat. And since here it says his seat, we could probably assume that it's a he, right? So in the last possible moment before takeoff, he took his seat, right? So it's incorrect because it's missing a subject. So now if you want to go ahead and do number 3 to 7, and we'll check it in a moment, then we'll do 8 to 10, okay? Okay, so go ahead, pause the video. Ready? Let's check these. Number 3 says, at the neighborhood flower shop, flowers in quantities of a dozen or a half dozen can be delivered for free. So it seems like in number 3, the verb is can be delivered. If we ask who or what can be delivered, well, flowers, right? Because in quantities of a dozen or a half dozen, remember that or and join or connect, right? The two things, in this case, dozen or half dozen. So that's an object of preposition. And at the neighborhood flower shop is an object of preposition as well. So those are not the subjects. Flowers is the subject. And in this case, this one is correct. Number 3 is correct. Yes, yes. Okay, now number 4 says the progressive reading methods at this school are given credit for the improved test scores. So the verbs or the verb structure is are given. We have an object of preposition here at this school, right? And who or what are given credit for the improved test scores? The progressive reading methods, right? Or the methods. But yeah, all of that is the subject structure. So it's correct. It has all of its elements. Let's look at number 5. For the last 3 years at various hospitals in the country has been practicing medicine. Has been practicing is my verb structure. For the last 3 years is an object of preposition. At various hospitals is another object of preposition. In the county, sorry, I said in the county is another object of preposition. So this one's going to be incorrect because it's missing a subject, right? Who has been practicing medicine, right? We don't know. Okay, now number 6 says, in the past, a career in politics was not considered acceptable in some circles. So the verb structure is was not considered acceptable. Who or what was not considered acceptable? We're not sure. In the past is going to be, because right there we have another noun, right? A career. So in the past is an object of preposition. In politics is another object of preposition. And now we can see the subject, a career. So this one is correct, right? Number 6 is correct. Yeah. Number 7, shopping in the downtown area of the city. It has improved a lot in recent years. Has improved is the verb. In the downtown area is an object of preposition. Of the city is another object of preposition. And who or what has improved? Shopping, right? El ir de compras, like in Spanish. But it's incorrect. Do you know why? Exactly, because there is an extra subject. This it is not necessary. And again, it's really hard to see it, but it's there and it makes the almost perfect or almost correct sentence incorrect, right? Okay, now we're going to go with the last 3 exercises. Okay, so I recommend you pause the video and do these now, and we'll check them in a moment, okay? Good luck. All right, let's check these. Number 8, at the building site, the carpenters with the most experience were given the most intricate work. The verb is were given, right? And now let's look at the objects of prepositions at the building site, right? With the most experience. Okay, so now who or what were given the most intricate work? The carpenters, right? And this one would be correct. Number 8 is correct, yes. Number 9, for the fever and headache, took 2 aspirin tablets. Took is my verb. And for the fever and headache, because remember, and or join those 2 ideas, right? Well, the 2 nouns, in this case, fever and headache. But it's incorrect because there is no subject, right? It could, for the fever and headache, he took, they took, we took, I took, right? Okay. Now, number 10, the report with complete documentation was delivered at the conference. Was delivered is the subject structure. With complete documentation is my object of preposition. And then the report is the subject. So this one is correct. Number 10 is correct. Okay, so there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video, found this tip useful. Next grammar part or next structure part, we're going to do skill 3, be careful of appositives, which is very easy. And next video will be on reading skill 2. So I hope to see you then and have a great day. Bye.